I don't usually stream, but I was wanting to go ahead and get those cases knocked out anyways. Kind of dealing with some sad kaiju hours right now, so we're gonna try and distract from them right now. I don't know. I don't want to just dump them all out right here during the stream. If someone asks about them, then I'll get into it, but I don't really want to if no one's gonna ask. If no one asks, but that would not be fair to you guys. Oh, turn that down. Can't see it behind me, but there are. Speaking of those, okay. April 19th, 9:30 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 4. Oh, going right into the courtroom. Not even having some preamble in the defendant lobby. Day 2, court is now in session. All rise. You got a bird.
Court is back in session for the trial of Damien Tedma.
Apollo Justice, defense team leader, is ready, Your Honor. Athena Sykes, assistant defender, is ready too, Your Honor. Je suis prêt.
I see. Then French noblesse. And the prosecution.
Got new cuffs. You know, it is nice that, Taka was able to, find something to, distract him while he's on hiatus from the bar.
Very well. By the way, I asked Detective Fulbright to provide sturdier shackles to me. There'll be no more of your funny business this time, Prosecutor Blackwell. Now, your opening statement, if you would. I believe it's standard procedure for the prosecution to handle it.
Ooh. Judge hasn't taken any of his BS today. It's like the judge is really bringing it today. Probably realized how Blackwell played him. That was one mean game, as Simon says. Yeah, his honor has to fight to defend his honor today. Gee, not playing like a fiddle, isn't he? It's plain to see that you've always dreamed of delivering an epic opening statement.
I have? I don't know if I'd say that.
Well, of course you have. I saw it in your eyes the last time you gave the opening statement. That was the look of someone who yearns deeply for the thrill of an epic opening statement. For decades now, you've been watching the opening statement from the bench. One of the crown jewels of the court. The one thing you could not possess.
Crown jewels, of course.
Long last, the older grasp. How could you possibly refuse?
So you don't mind if I do it then?
I'll make a special exception just this once. Here we go again. Yep. Blackwell's mind games.
Well, in that case, I think I might go ahead and make the opening statement myself. In yesterday's session, we learned the shocking truth that the victim of Ultimate Rex QB was the amazing Ninetales. We also learned that the amazing Ninetales was a key figure in the yokai craze and the anti-militant protest.
So if they just find like white hair and not do that, I guess I wouldn't have necessarily. They wouldn't have any reason to believe the white hair was anyone but cubies, I guess.
Let's further review the plot. identity, Mayor Damien Tenma murdered him. The fact that the crime took place in a tightly locked room was also brought to light. The only people in that tiny locked room were the defendant and the victim. The defense proposed the existence of a hypothetical third party, but further investigation revealed no proof of a third party who had escaped the room.
Ergo,
We must conclude that the evidence against the defendant is, well, conclusive. Did I say something wrong?
that was quite astonishing. You've truly outdone yourself this time.
One more thing to boast about to my grandchild.
Well, this was not an unexpected turn of events.
Now then, it seems that the prosecution has called a new witness to testify.
The inexplicable yokai evidence left at the scene of the crime. That's not the... Well, does that not demand some sort of explanation?
Feathers and tracks, one that's left by the mayor while he was possessed.
Back to protect his daughter.
Oh, yes, of course. I suspected as much.
Yeah, I can't believe the mayor's award-winning performance. His daughter was the only one who planted the yokai evidence. Echo. The true identity of the yokai and the man is made. Jinxie Tenma.
Objection!
Hello. Trying to make the voice a bit more British than Australian. Prosecution is engaging in mere conjecture. We get for some witness testimony then. Well, I'm ready to prove that the scamp was the one behind the Tenmatoro farce. Witness testimony. Ready means Phillips and that creep lapel.
Very well then. Bailiff, will you bring the first witness?
Well, he was being attacked by a bird.
Mr. Filch, you made quite the hasty exit yesterday. See that it doesn't happen again today.
Been known for my hasty retreats ever since I was a kid. Bit of a trademark of mine.
Indeed, you managed to do a total of 5 bails to slip.
Like those amateurs could have a nap, me. Yipes!
Perhaps we should shackle you by the neck. That will keep you in place.
Yipes! No, please! I'm liable to rip my own head off if I start running.
Your statement.
Yes, sir, Mr. Blackhead, sir. You may beat a hasty retreat, but there's no escaping Prosecutor Blackwell. Blackwell doesn't strike me as the give-up easy type.
Now then, Mr. Filch, your testimony please. Specifically, the true nature of the yokai you saw in the manor shortly after the crime.
Witness testimony. The yokai is Jinxie. Tenmataro is really the little maid girl. Ain't no doubt about it. I mean, the Tenmataro I saw was just a little thing about his size. But the little runt had a big old staff. I seen it when she came running into the foyer. I guess she stole it from the Forbidden Chamber after stumbling on this crime scene. She was gonna use it to wallop me on account of my fierce reputation. I just know it. That doesn't make sense.
So, Tenmataro was short in stature, and that's because it was Miss Jinxie Tenma all along.
You betcha. Besides, the rest in the manor were way taller than her.
Feigning height is what an easy thing. But a big ox like the defendant could never pass for short.
What if the Tenmataro impersonator was walking on their knees? Or no knee walking. I seen it myself.
And perhaps that yokai really was Miss Tenma after all. All monsters are not but tricks, either of the mind or the cheap followed variety. So you're saying she created an illusion like one of those magical eye things?
Precisely. Human senses are easily deceived. Take the fellow in the cell next to me. Each night he cries and screams about some ghost he thinks he sees. Find the truth. It was simply the janitor.
Prosecutor Blackwell just gave up the ghost. Literally.
Janitor's deathly complexion and all white attire are no doubt partially to blame. That and the fact that he constantly mutters about taking vengeance for this or that. That actually sounds like a real ghost to me.
The defense may now begin the cross-examine of the witness.
That's not what was said, but I got the point across. Yokai is Jinx. Hold on, because... Yeah, that can't be because Mayor Tenma
Objection!
The key. It would seem that Tenmataro was in fact not this innocent little girl. Eh? How do you figure that? You claimed the Tenmataro you saw had one of those staves from the Forbidden Chamber. But it would have been impossible for Miss Tenma to get a hold of one.
Care to elaborate, Mr. Justice?
The mayor swallowed this key shortly after the murder. He wanted to keep the killer out of the Forbidden Chamber.
What's this?
This key was deep inside the mayor's stomach when Miss Tenma discovered the crime scene. So you see, it would have been possible for her to get into the Forbidden Chamber. In short, the Tenmataro seen holding that staff could not have been Jinxie Tenma.
Damn. What? Then who does the defendant believe was impersonating Tenmataro?
Objection!
Such accusations beg evidence. Besides his ghastly appearance, can you prove he's the yokai Zeke? Yes, in fact, he can.
Very well. Let's see where the defense is going with this. Mr. Justice, please show us proof as to the true identity of the Tenmataro impersonator.
And the hand cream.
Take that!
We found this hand cream in the Forbidden Chamber. We know that whoever was Tenmataro took one of the staves out of there. In short, I believe whoever this hand cream belongs to is the yokai impersonator we're looking for.
Mr. Justice, please identify the hand owner.
I'm glad you asked me, Your Honor. The defense requested fingerprint analysis on this piece of evidence. It might tell us who it belongs to.
Interesting. So you expect to find the yokai's prints then? Very well. I hereby call a short recess while we wait for fingerprint results.
No need for that, Your Boldness. We have the prints of everyone at the manor that day.
You called Prosecutor Blackwell.
Can anyone be more whipped? Fulbright, analyze this for prints. You have 3 minutes.
Your wish is my command. Very well then. I guess we'll just wait right here.
It seems the fingerprints analysis is complete.
What do the results show?
What in the world? They're Florent Labelle's prints, aren't they? This
This is absurd.
Prosecutor Blackwell? I'm not gonna like this, am I?
Don't tell me. The Temataro's prints? Fingerprint analysis has revealed that the prints belong to... Phineas Filch.
Objection!
Wait, what? What? Mr. LaBelle wasn't the one who entered the Forbidden Chamber?
Objection!
Why, you tricksy little Tanuki. Explain yourself now.
Sure, them prints of mine. I mean, I did pilfer that hand cream from Mr. LaBelle after all. So you're the one who entered the Forbidden Chamber? So what if I did? I got a problem with it? Yay!
Fool of a Tanuki.
Is that a Lord of the Rings reference? Is he referencing Dumbledore from Game of Thrones?
Order. Mr. Justice, care to explain what this could mean?
Excellent question. The fact that Mr. Filch was in the Forbidden Chamber... Wait a second. Does this mean the Tin Mataro holding the staff was Phineas Filch? Yikes! Now the kid out of the bag!
Mr. Filch is Temataro?
I don't understand. Does this mean Mr. Filch is the real killer?
The witness will explain himself this instant.
Begging your pardon, your honorship. I was just doing what the alderman told me. He wanted me to be Tin Mataro in the village exorcism ritual. Oh, you mean that event at the Nine Tails Vale Festival? So that was you inside the Tin Mataro costume? Yep. And after the event, I went to watch that pro wrestling program. But it bore me to tears on account of the wrestlers being complete jobbers. So we didn't actually watch the entire wrestling match. That's when I looked at the Tin Mataro costume and got a great idea. Nobody can tell it's me if I'm wearing it. Because of his superstitions, no matter what I do, the villagers won't say a word. The villages? Or... Is that supposed to be the villagers? Is there supposed to be an R there?
In other words, you use the superstitions to effectively render yourself invisible.
Why did you enter the Forbidden Chamber in the first place? Because of the treasure there! Thought that was my big chance to sneak on in and nab it. Treasure? Believe that it's the greatest get-rich-quick chain into the universe. Grandpappy told me all about it. Said there's an amazing treasure in there. He went in there not knowing his grandfather had already pilfered it. Guess that's one tale that didn't get passed down from grandpappy to grandson. Wait, how exactly did you get into the Forbidden Chamber? There was a meeting in the Fox Chamber that day. The mayor swallowed the only key that could open the Forbidden Chamber's door. You couldn't have possibly gotten in. I could through the air vent in the foyer. The vent's left of the alderman's picture. I went on in and made a nice little hole. Use that to get into the air duct that leads to the Forbidden Chamber, I did. You what? But how's that even possible? Wait a sec. Remember that air vent in the Forbidden Chamber? So Mr. Filch found a way to get into that air duct. And that's how he got from the foyer vent to the Forbidden Chamber vent?
So Temataro is nothing more than a cat burglar, or rather, a Tanuki burglar. And we're back to being without anyone under charge for the alderman's murder.
Looks like your so-called yokai is nothing more than one big troublemaker. Tell me, Mr. Filch, what did you do after fleeing the foyer? I got out of that costume right quick. would have caused trouble at that point. And where is that costume now? Heck if I know. And it ain't my fault if you never find it.
The police searched every nook and cranny. No yokai costumes left in that manor.
What if it was tossed outside the manor? Ah. No way. Maybe, just maybe.
The defense seems to have hit upon an idea. Well, go on, Mr. Justice.
Okay, here's what I think. Mr. Filch, did you get rid of the costume here?
Take that!
Did you toss it out the window? Because it would certainly explain why it didn't turn up inside the manor. You think I tossed it out the window? That costume cost me a pretty penny. Why would I go doing something like that? Can I give a few reasons? Bright ideas, Paolo? Well, assuming the costume really was tossed out the window, then the next question would be, what happened to it after that? If I'm right, I might have just the thing to prove what happened to the costume. Phineas Filch, I have just the evidence for you. You do? This evidence proves you got rid of your Ten Motaro costume through the window. Probably the special edition paper.
Take that!
That's Ten Motaro flying through the sky. Lost my accent there.
And just how does that prove Mr. Filch threw his costume out the window?
It's quite simple. That's not Ten Motaro in the photo. It's the costume Mr. Filch threw out. Ah, that's crazy talk. You ain't serious, are you? There's a steep cliff right outside the foyer window, meaning the manor is pretty high up. The costume flew through the air after it was tossed out. That's when the photo was taken. In other words, the photo of Ten Motaro really was a flight of fancy.
What?
Yikes!
Hey, my. There really never was a yokai.
I can't keep any of them cats bagged. I still file a claim for the lost costume. So this more than proves the defense's position. Jinxie Tenma had nothing to do with staging the yokai sighting.
If there is any objections, Prosecutor Blackwell? None whatsoever. Give that Trixie Tanuki after we've dealt with this case.
We did it. Get going. Now, all we have to do is make Florent LaBelle take the
Objection!
Sheathing the sword a bit early there, are we not?
What?
Nothing has been proven beyond a doubt.
Take this tricksy little Tanuki for an instance.
How do you suppose he was able to exit the forbidden chamber?
Probably the same way he got in, through the chamber's air vent.
Feathers and tracks in the scene of the crime. That would suggest that the Tanuki exited through the chamber door, not the air.
Objection!
The forbidden chamber doesn't open from the inside. So what you're saying makes no sense, right?
Someone on the outside opened the door for you. Isn't that right?
Yep, right, Mr. Blackjack. The door suddenly sprung right open.
Hold it!
Sprung right open? Who was on the other side? Didn't get a good look on account under the sudden glare.
I got a reflection from my headlight. This fellow moving
snatched that staff and made my daring escape. And then that little maid girl spotted me as I hightailed it down the hall. That means the Forbidden Chamber wasn't opened until after the crime was discovered. Wait. We still don't know who opened it. Maybe there really was a third person in the Fox Chamber.
Objection!
Well, you little tanuki.
When the Forbidden Chamber opened, did you see the accused passed out there?
Nope. Only one there was the alderman, and he was dead as a doornail.
The accused wasn't there. What do you suppose he was up to?
I don't know where this is going.
Don't tell me.
The only one who could have opened the Forbidden Chamber was the accused, Damien Timber.
Hold it!
Wait a sec. There had to be someone else besides Mr. Tenma there.
Really? Who might that be?
Oh.
Objection!
Seems our Fox will last if we don't use important thing. Evidence.
I didn't forget. I was just testing your attention to details.
Sakes? Can't prove your point without proof of some sort. It's a proven fact.
Sorry. Foot in my mouth again.
No, Athena, we're definitely onto something here.
We are?
Think about it. Filch was stuck inside the Forbidden Chamber. One of the alibis we heard would no longer hold water. The defense would like to call a new witness to the stand. Someone who knew Mr. Filch was stuck in the Forbidden Chamber. And by virtue of knowing this, has an alibi that no longer adds up. Ah, not that insufferable.
Very well. The court will hear what Mr. Justice has to say. Whose alibi no longer adds up?
Take that!
Why, that's the defendant's aide, Florent Lebel. Didn't he claim to be in the foyer at the time of the crime?
True, but in his alibi, he also claimed Mr. Filch was in the foyer too. However, as we all know, Mr. Filch was not there with Mr. LaBelle at the time. In short, Mr. LaBelle's alibi has disappeared. Laurent LaBelle's alibi was one big lie. Isn't that right, Mr. Filch?
I reckon there ain't no keeping that cat in the bag here neither. It's all Mr. LaBelle's idea. He told me he buttoned his lip about me breaking into the Forbidden Chamber. And in return, said if we vouched for each other's alibi.
See what you, Mr. Filch. Murder is a serious crime, you know.
Yeah, shucks. Mercy, Your Honorship. Mercy!
Also, the search of the person who opened the Forbidden Chamber for Mr. Filch was none other. I also assert that the person who opened the Forbidden Chamber for Mr. Filch was none other than Florent LaBelle. After all, his alibi has been proven to be a complete fabrication.
Proceed. Take a 20-minute recess. After which time, we'll see what Mr. LaBelle has to say about himself.
Yes. They're gonna drag that slippery snake onto the stand.
Meantime, the prosecution will question Mr. LaBelle about these new allegations.
You did it, Apollo. Finally dragged Mr. LaBelle into court.
Yeah.
Hey, my long face.
Can't help but think that I'm missing something important. Plus, Prosecutor Blackwell's bound to mount a counterattack.
are a warrior ward, aren't you? It'll be fine. That mystery figure who opened up the chamber... Bleh. That mystery figure who opened up the forbidden chamber for Mr. Filch had to have been Florent LaBelle. No, that's not what's bugging me. I wish I could put my finger on it, though. At any rate, the next big showdown with Mr. LaBelle is up next. So chin up, Apollo. His hair is green now. That's what CJ meant when he looked like the Joker.
Yes, I'm acting on behalf of the mayor in this very important matter.
This is predisposed at the moment.
Surely you'll just. I will hold you to your promise, remember that? Oh, my deepest apologies. This is Florent LaBelle, personal aide to Mayor Tenma, or should I say, the accused.
Ouch. Poor mayor hasn't suffered enough.
What business do you have with me? I'm a very busy man, so let's make this as brief as possible.
Your boldness. Right. Mr. Fitch's testimony has revealed a wholly more antimony. And for this reason, he was suspected of having some sort of connection with the case at hand.
To think I'd be associated with this entirely lurid affair. No, I'm not. So may I go now? I have very important matters to attend to.
Objection!
No.
I don't think so, Mr. LaBelle.
Do you realize what a serious crime you've committed?
Weakness, you are being accused of perjury. This is your chance to clear the air.
Fine. The truth is I faked my alibi for a very good reason. Name's obviously the killer, so I created a fake alibi to confuse the matter. See, as his personal aide, I felt I had to protect him. Sorry.
You think this is funny? Without your alibi, you're a suspect too. What you were really doing at the time of the crime, or what were you really doing at the time of the crime? Peasant. You dare accuse me? One of the
Objection!
people of being... Stop stalling and tell the court what you were really doing at the time of the crime.
Silence!
Enough jabbering. Swords have been drawn. The time for talk is past. Swords? What swords? This is a duel to the death. The fate of the accused rests in our hands. Begone, ye cowardly Huns. Well, glad those cuffs were, The battlefield hath no place for ye. Again? Oh my. Spare me, please. Sturdier shackles. Ah! They've changed it in my vow that his will this day. This gives keeping your head on in court a whole new meaning. Witness, please deliver the accused death.
Most certainly. His goose is already cooked. Time to stick a fork in it.
Whatever he has to say can't be good.
As I told Prosecutor Blackwell during the recess, I rushed right over to the Fox chamber when I heard the Jinxie scream.
What?
Then, drum roll, please. I saw Mayor Tenma opening the forbidden chamber doors.
But there you have it. Mystery man who opened the chamber door, as witnessed by one Phineas Finch, was the accused. There was never any third.
not all. I heard something quite startling there at the scene of the crime.
Startling sounds bad.
Mayor, who was being the compass. Forgive me, Jinxie. I killed the alderman. That's right. The mayor actually confessed to the murder right then and there.
He confessed?
Adding
Order. Of course. This is quite conclusive testimony if it stands.
Just so. Quite astonishing, I might add. I only learned of this fact during the recess. Just love surprises, don't you? That's why I saved the best for last. Consider it a gift from me to you.
Hey, I can't believe Mr. LaBelle heard the mayor confess.
Boss, this is really true. Did the mayor tell her really confess?
It is indeed. During that late recess, I confronted the mayor's daughter. It seemed Mayor Temple actually did confess.
That testimony is quite favorable to the prosecution.
Mrs. LaBelle? Yes, I told the mayor about the party reservation. That's right. And I'll be calling my little shindig Mayor Tenma's Conviction Gala. Spend the time and his guarantee for all. How about the mayor in his defense?
Well, it seems our witness is a very busy man. Let's get right to his testimony. Mr. LaBelle, please tell us what you saw when you came upon the scene of the crime.
What was that song?
I was in the hallway, hiding in the shadows. That's when I heard the confession. From learning of her father's crime, little Jinxie fled without ever noticing me. Immediately after that, the mayor came to, stood up and opened the forbidden chamber. As I ran in terror, the demon emerged from his prison. In shock, I fled down the hallway to my right, to the one with the phone at the end.
But Jinxie went down there.
I must say, this is a shocking revelation. Quite unexpected. To think that the defendant actually confessed then and in there to his crime. Perhaps the guilt was too much to bear, so he confided in his daughter. You do realize you should not have withheld such crucial testimony from the court.
Once again, sorry. It's just, I feared being accused if I mentioned coming up upon that most unpleasant scene.
Why did the mayor's confession have to be brought up by this guy? We better do something before the judge declares the mayor guilty.
As a death row inmate once told me, in years gone by, there is a time to fight, and a time to yield, a time to live, and a time to die.
He's laying it on real thick now.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Statement. That's where Jinxie went.
Objection!
Florent LaBelle, you're lying about having witnessed these events from the hallway.
What on earth do you mean? Yes, care to fill in the rest of us, Mr. Justice?
If Mr. LaBelle had really fled down the hall... head down... there. If Mr. LaBelle had really fled down into the hall with the phone in it, he would have crossed paths with Miss Tenma. What's this? After she discovered the crime scene, she immediately went to call the police. Then, after making her call, she went back to the main hallway, whereupon she encountered the demon yokai. Whereupon she encountered the demon, yokai, or whatever you want to call it. As for me, I call it Phineas Filch in a Tenmataro costume. The encounter happened right there. Yeah. The encounter happened right here, where the hallways meet. As for Mr. LaBelle, if he had fled here, feigning escape from the yokai imposter...
Why yes, the two would have crossed paths.
Right. Except Miss Tenma told us that there was no one else in the hall. In short, Miss Tenma did not see you in the hall because you were never really there.
Ah, my eyes! My beautiful eyes!
Not such a fabulous scent, is it? Yeah, not such a fabulous scent now, is it?
But Mr. Justice, the witness also stated that he heard the man confess. He was lying about getting the confession from the hall. Where was he when he heard it?
Inside the Fox Chamber. Where else?
Isn't that within the very crime scene?
It is, Your Honor. And that means he's not really a witness. Rather, he's the third party I've been alleging this whole time.
What? You think I'm the killer? How dare you?
Silence!
Foolish fop.
A true man knows when he's beaten. A shield of lies comes not before a foe with a sword of truth bared.
Prosecutor Blackwell? What are you? I thought we were on the same side.
You are mistaken. There are no sides here. Save for my cold, steely edge of judgment. Let me bring this back for you. Put your lines in sickly sweet perfume. Oh, what just happened? Black was really tearing into him. You heard the mayor's confession from inside, did you not? Deviant dandy. This is a location in which you could have seen and heard the mayor and the Tanuki, without either of them noticing you. You were right. Yeah, without either of them noticing you were right there in the Fox Chamber.
Oh my! So that's how it's going to be. Fine, I'll come clean then.
Seriously? You admit to being in the Fox Chamber?
I do. I did until after the murder. I was afraid of being falsely accused, so I lied about it. I feel terrible about lying like that. But it's verbal cologne I use to protect myself.
You'd better explain yourself, Mr. LaBelle.
Yes, of course. I was just about to get to that. The witness is skating on thin ice. I'll remind you that perjury is a very serious crime. Now, let's hear your testimony, this time without your perfume of lies. I did enter the Fox Chamber after the murder, but I didn't enter until after Jinxie had heard the confession and left. I heard the mayor groan and hid behind the folding screen there. But I saw that mayor up close was absolutely horrifying. You see, I was there, but merely watching from behind the screen. From behind the screen? Yes, I believe you wouldn't be spotted if you were there.
So, he could see everything without being spotted by the victim or that Tanuki filch. Suffice to say, he was a mere witness to the events, rather than an actual third party. This guy's slippery as an eel. Apollo, you think he's telling the truth? Well, he was in the Fox Chamber, so at least that much must be true. I don't buy it.
The defense may cross-examine us slightly voyeuristic with...
Yeah. Don't describe this particular person as voyeuristic. I don't need to know that.
Hold it!
Could you describe the crime scene in a bit more detail?
What exactly would you like details about?
What I'd like to ask you about is... We haven't really had much discussion about the murder weapon. Can you describe the state of the weapons that have been used at the scene?
The spear had been thrust all the way through Alderman QB. Then there was that statue that the Alderman used to bludgeon Mayor Tenma. This incredibly inspiring symbol had fallen to the floor.
Wait, the statue. Why would you find it inspiring? Why exactly did you find the statue inspiring?
Well, I saw that statue. I felt as if the merger had been realized. It was like a celebration of union between the town and village. An inspiring symbol of goodwill.
A broken statue next to a bloody corpse. Real inspiring.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you consider his statement to be of any importance?
Yes. He shouldn't know about that. He should not know about that. The only people who knew what the statue was meant to look like initially was
The Alderman and Jinxie.
he shouldn't have known about the bowl. It just looks like two yokai fighting.
Objection!
Eating without it. Your lies have finally betrayed you, Mr. LaBelle.
What possibly could you mean?
You said the statue was like a celebration of union between town and village. Isn't that correct?
It is indeed, but what of it? The two yokai are joining hands in goodwill, as if they were celebrating the municipal merger. Something the matter?
So, how did you really know that the statue was meant to be a symbol of goodwill again?
What?
Justice Durno, explain yourself, and make it quick. I guess Justice Dono is a better nickname than Hair Forehead. This statue was meant to symbolize goodwill in its original form, but that was a secret.
Secret? What do you mean?
What I mean is that it broke when someone used it to strike Mayor Tenma on the head. What's left clearly makes it look like the two yokai are battling it out. The statue's secret and its true form were lost inside that locked room. For Miss Tenma is the only living soul who should know what it once looked like. So, Mr. LaBelle, where could you have possibly seen the statue in its original form?
What do you mean, where?
The only possible answer is this. You saw the statue in its original form. Right there in the room where the alderman was murdered before it was broken.
How dare you! Mr. Justice, are you accusing the witness of some sort of crime?
Yes, I am. Laurent Lebel? I accuse you of the murder of Alderman Rex QB.
Order! Mr. Lebel, you've been accused of murder. Do you have anything to say in defense?
How could you possibly accuse me? The embodiment of beauty.
I'm saying we put away some very attractive people in this game. Way to go, Apollo. This is the conclusive evidence we needed. Magnifico. We've got you now. We know you killed the alderman. Now admit it.
Silence!
Enough of your silly games, Justice Stonehead. This prancing peacock cannot possibly be...
Objection!
What are you talking about? His alibi has already crumbled to dust, just like my ability to read sentences. And I just proved that he was in the Fox chamber while it was still locked tight.
Silence!
Why could he have not seen the statue in its true form before the murder? After all, he was close friends with the girl. Yes, that's right. I clearly remember it now. Alderman QB told me about it. About what the statue actually looked like. He was a good friend of mine.
Objection!
You're right. He wouldn't show a secret gift just like that.
Silence!
Moreover, it has already been proven that he was not present at the scene of the crime. It has? Recall the little scamp's statement, if you will. When Jinxie Tenma unlocked the Fox chamber, she saw the old man and the mayor collapse therein, and no one else. Dang it! The fact is, it was you two who made that apparent in yesterday's court session. Thus, Laurent Lebel could not have possibly been in the locked room. Just don't get it. How could Jinxie have not seen the bell? Proof is incontrovertible. No room for debate exists. Am I not right, your boldness?
Does seem awfully conclusive. Facts point to the defendant and the victim being the only people in that locked room. Moreover, the defendant is already...
Objection! Silence!
Didn't even let me finish. Or even start right. Not defended, indefensible. Your role in the charade is over, Justice Stonehead. But... Your boldness. This trial will last an eternity of living present laid in these sentences. It's high time you brought down the hammer of justice.
Point well made. It was time to declare a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Damien Tenma,
It would seem my time is at hand. Mayor Tenma? Counselor? What's the matter of which I must testify? I recall it now only for your good graces. Counselor? Alright, he must be me. Does he finally remember what happened before that blow to his head?
bailiff took to stand there.
Seize him. It's no good. Can't restrain him. Know me and despair, for I am Tenma Toro, Demon Lord of the Yokai.
justice. Do something.
Am I responsible for court security? Although, this is our chance. We might get some new information out of him.
Your Honor, seeing as our client has something new to say, I believe due process demands that we hear him out, even if he is a yokai.
When you put it that way. Still, I believe testimony by a yokai is unprecedented in the legal world.
We have cross-examined a parrot. You were there. In a few cases, we're going to cross-examine an orca. So...
Unprecedented and absurdity, more like it. Alright then, Mr. Damien Tenma, or should I say, Mr. Tenmatoro, your testimony, please.
I shall now speak of recollections most real, courtesy of my host, Damien Tenma. Heed these words, mortal, for hear them but once you shall. Har, 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 har.
The ruler...
Barely conscious Damien then. Barely conscious was Damien there amid the darkness. Suddenly, two yokai did appear. On one side, I, Tenmatoro, ruler of demonkind. And on the other, my mortal enemy, the nine-tailed fox.
So is the defendant asserting that the room he was in was very dark at the time?
Strange as it may be, yes. Indeed, all was in darkness.
And the part about Tenmataro and the nine-tailed fox being there?
Is that too? Tenmataro towered overhead, and the nine-tailed fox glittered gold.
I call animal abuse, Your Honor.
Seem the defendant's recollections are not to be trusted. Elsewhere, truth be told, my host's recollections are still a bit fuzzy. As if half dreamt that happening lingers in his mind.
Apollo, maybe I can help here. Really? Oh, you mean... Yeah, I can hear it. The discord in his heart. It's howling at the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon. I sent an unusual emotion in the mayor's memory of the event. Okay. I hope our findings don't come back to haunt us again.
Got it!
Why are you happy? When the nine-tailed fox appeared, you not only experienced shock and sadness, but also something like joy as well?
Joy? Perhaps it was joy at the light coming to my eyes at long last. A long it pierced the silence, and then there was light. On reflection, it was a door that did produce that infernal racket.
A creaking door. You must be talking about the Forbidden Chamber door. It does make a lot of noise.
So this means the Forbidden Chamber really was opened. What about the sudden light he described?
I think I know. He mentioned darkness and Tenmataro towering overhead. Maybe the mayor wasn't really in the Fox Chamber at the time of the crime. Mr. Mayor, did the darkness that you were in happen to be here? Oh.
Take that!
He got put in the Forbidden Chamber after he was knocked out cold.
The Forbidden Chamber? Was it not the Fox Chamber where the murder did occur?
Yes, but it all makes sense if you were in the Forbidden Chamber. That terrible creaking sound was probably the Forbidden Chamber's door opening. And the tower in Taro you saw? Most likely the Forbidden Chamber's statue.
Why, yes! That would explain it. The darkness and the staff in the demon's grasp.
But even if all that's true, then what about the nine-tailed fox? Maybe he was seeing things, just like Jinxie and her imaginary yokai? Fantastical, Apollo. It's entirely possible. In a groggy, dreamlike state, people can misremember things at events.
Misremember, you say? Let me think. Ah! I do believe I remember now. That was not the nine-tailed fox. It was the amazing nine-tails.
What? The amazing nine-tails?
At first, this was a dream, I thought. Now, however, I most clearly do recall it. It's the amazing nine-tails who did open the Forbidden Chambers.
I'm sorry I asked. Amazing nine-tails? That was the victim, Alderman Cutie, right? Yeah. Wasn't he trying to keep it sealed? Never mind that. This is completely new information. Let me enter it and run an update. Chamber. Amid the darkness, the mighty statue of Yes, because that wasn't there. Yeah.
Got it!
Because that wasn't there for the rest of it, so yeah. When the amazing Ninetales opened the chamber, banishing the darkness within, you felt joy? But didn't you also feel shock and sadness?
Yes, in the hazy depths of my mind. I do recollect something of that nature. I believe it was the Fiend's Cape of Red. When I did behold it, a great wave of sadness did inexplicably wash over me.
A cape of red? Apollo, we've reduced the noise level. Oh, but there's still a little left. Mayor Tenma, why were you sad when you saw the red cape?
Indeed.
What could this mean? I guess his memory's still a little spotty. I know because his latest recollection contradicts the evidence. Yeah, it's one of those contradictions that slaps you right across the face. Something this obvious could arise when someone is trying to force a fuzzy memory into a definitive shape. Apollo, I know what you have to do. You need to present evidence that contradicts the image you see. Oh, so it's basically the same as the usual cross-examination process. Okay. Review the evidence. Look out contradiction. Here comes justice. He doesn't wear a cape, he's got like the, at least on a red one, and it's made to look like tails.
Objection!
You said the amazing Ninetales cape was red? Are you sure about that?
Yes, well, I do believe it was a red cape. I saw, but...
Mayor Tenma? Does this cape look red to you?
That certainly does not look red. Not Not even scarlet or crimson either. Nevertheless, upon my liberation, something red did fill my as yet hazy field of view. And I thought to myself, the amazing Ninetales is arrayed in a cape of red.
So you mistook that red something for his cape, huh? Could it be blood getting over his eyes? He did get conked on the noggin.
Apparently so. And remembering it now brings great sadness upon me.
So, the red, it was something there. Oh, and to hydrate. Thank you, CJ.
So the red and something probably wasn't a cape after all.
The voice I picked for Tenmataro is rough on the throat.
Maybe that great sadness he mentioned is what's interfering with his memory.
Well, he would have seen in the fox chamber behind the amazing Ninetales. What red object could he have seen there that would have been shocking? I know. Could it have been Mr. Mayor? Was this the red thing? Or was the red thing you saw this? Is there a red thing? I guess the photo's got plenty of red in it. There's a lot of blood.
Take that!
Something red that could produce a deep sadness. I guess would it be the blood that was pooling off of his head from the open head wound? Could it be Mr. Tenma that what you saw was the Alderman's blood? Or I guess the Alderman's blood, but I don't know how that would...
Blood? Why, yes, it was blood.
Oh, wait. Wait, his collar's not all fluffed out.
It's all coming back to me now. It wasn't a red cape that I saw. It was lying behind the amazing Ninetales. The Alderman's bloody body.
Ah.
Bye-bye. The noise level is down to 0. I think he's remembered everything now.
Does that mean the amazing Ninetales killed Alderman Cubie?
But the Alderman was the amazing Ninetales, so how exactly would that work?
Hey, I asked you first.
Well, Mr. Justice, you sure know how to make a complicated matter even more complicated.
True, but at the time of the crime, our client was in the Forbidden Chamber.
Silence!
Moreover... Oi, don't you think this strange? The little scamp has already confirmed her father to be in the Fox Chamber. And she said not about seeing the amazing Ninetales there. You just had to bring that up, didn't you?
Jinxie didn't see Miss LaBelle there either. It's so weird. Who really was in that room then?
The defense care to share any theories with the court? Can you explain the inconsistencies between the defendant's testimony and his daughter's?
Yes, I can. Yes, of course I can explain it.
More for bluffs and fairy tales, I trust. Fair warning, Justice Donner. I shall have your head if you fail to explain this. What about a good old-fashioned penalty?
Well, Mr. Justice, let's see if you have a head worth keeping on your shoulders.
First of all, Mr. LaBelle was definitely in the Fox Chamber while it was locked. And we know that Mayor Tenma was in the Forbidden Chamber based off of his testimony. Those two facts are crucial to my explanation. So let us consider the following question. If the facts point to Florent LaBelle and the victim being there at the scene, why did Jinxie Tenma see the victim and her father, Mayor Tenma?
Indeed. I suppose you have an answer for us.
Sadly, you would be supposing wrong. You think that she could have mistaken LaBelle for the mayor? Well, if she did, the question is, why did she do that?
Well, how about that explanation, Mr. Justice? I believe the time for questions is over. The defense asserts that Florent LaBelle was the scene of the crime. However, Jinxie Tenma has testified that her father collapsed. She saw her father collapse. If she has, in fact, misremembered the event, what could have made her do so?
LaBelle was disguised as Tenma. The figure Miss Tenma saw was not her father. It was Florent LaBelle disguised as Damien.
Silence!
That is a complete impossibility. Their faces are utterly unalike. How could you explain away with a mere disguise?
Yes, they do have incredibly distinctive faces.
For instance, one is terrifying, the other one makes me want to punch it repeatedly until it is unrecognizable. Yeah, I do like that they've incorporated a silence cut in, and as opposed to like a hold it that you'd get from the other prosecutors. Maybe the disguise completely hid his face. I think Jinxie would have mentioned if she couldn't see her father's face.
And if it was that sort of disguise, wouldn't she have removed it?
Alright.
Your sword is as dull as your mind, Justice. Shall I show you what a truly sharp blade is capable of?
Psychopathic! Ah! I can't believe Apollo's dead. You okay, Apollo? I'm not fine, am I?
Well, now that we have that little fairy tale out of the way, your boldness, your verdict, if you will.
Mr. Justice, I believe it's time for a verdict if you have no further arguments.
What's left for me to do? Apollo, remember what Mr. Wright always says? When you're stuck in a tight spot, turn the case upside down. Case upside down. He does say that, doesn't he? I don't quite see how it applies here. Still, never hurts to give it a try, I guess. Let's see. Rather than Jinxie didn't remove the disguise, maybe she couldn't remove it. Maybe she did go into a whole thing that removing a luchador's mask is a great dishonor. And rather, she didn't tell anyone about the disguise. Maybe it was she couldn't talk about it. Yep, a wrestler's mask is more precious than his own life. He'd never unmask himself in front of others. There are matches with... Yep. Second time we've seen that dialogue. Have your mask torn off is the worst humiliation a wrestler could suffer. That's why their masks are more important to them than life itself. The fact that it was the amazing Ninetales who opened the door. Masks can't be removed in front of others. We got it all backwards. Apollo? I think we might have made a huge mistake.
Your boldness, I see no need to further indulge them in that silly little farce. The defense has no proof. They never did and they never will.
Seems I must announce
Objection!
I do have proof.
Do you now?
Alright, but this better be good, Mr. Justice.
We can solve the remaining riddles by turning all of our assumptions upside down. Why Jinxie Tenma mistook Mr. LaBelle for her father. Why she couldn't remove the costume, or tell anyone about it in the first place. These riddles are inextricably linked to Mayor Tenma's secret identity. A shocking secret identity that will turn the entire premise of this case upside down. This piece of evidence clearly reveals the Mayor Tenma's secret identity.
Take that!
Yeah. What an absolute claptrap. Poppycock. Balderdash.
We thought the Alderman was the Amazing Ninetales, and the Mayor was Tenma Taro. That's why we believe the Mayor killed the Alderman and in his lust for Ninetales Vale. And it was the basis for the prosecution's entire case against our client. However, we got the whole thing backwards. Mayor Tenma wasn't Tenma Taro at all. He was the Amazing Ninetales.
You'd best explain yourself, Justice Doctor. And from where you derive such a far-fetched conclusion.
Jinxie no doubt knew the true identity of the Amazing Ninetales. She couldn't tell anyone no matter what. That's why she didn't say that it was the Amazing Ninetales she saw passed down. Even though, unbeknownst to her, it was really Florent LaBelle in disguise.
Silence!
Dandy,
The accused and not deceitful dandy are utterly dissimilar in physical build and voice.
a little scamp would have seen the difference.
Objection!
Remember, Mr. LaBelle has his very own brand of cosmetics. Why couldn't he fake a different build too? And anyone speaking through a mask would naturally sound
Silence!
I just noticed Taka's eye get all big at the smack.
Why did she not simply pull the mask off?
Objection!
A masked wrestler's disguise is more predator than its death. A masked wrestler's disguise is more precious than life itself. As a huge fan of the Amazing Ninetales, she would never dare unmask him. This case of mistaken identity also explains the riddle of the locked room.
By all means, Mr. Justice. Answer it for us already.
First, Mr. LaBelle entered the room where the mayor and the alderman were talking. I suspect he brought with him some coffee laced with some sort of sedative. Once the alderman was out cold, that's when Mr. LaBelle killed him. Next, he took the mayor, yeah. Next, he took the mayor, who he had also drugged, into the Forbidden Chamber. Then he returned to the Fox Chamber, slipped into some of the mayor's spare clothes, and completed the disguise by donning the Amazing Ninetales mask. With his entire charade in place, Mr. LaBelle then let out a scream. The scream led Jinxie Tenma to the scene. So then, the person who said I killed Autumn Hubie was... Yep, that was Florent LaBelle in disguise. The mayor never actually confessed.
Silence!
This is no more than guesswork and speculation. Now stop your jab.
Objection!
No, you twisted samurai. This time you stop your jabbering and let me finish making my case. Once Miss Tenma left the scene, Mr. LaBelle, still wearing the mayor's clothes and mask, opened the forbidden chamber. So he could drag the mayor back into the fox chamber. Oh, so the amazing as the mayor saw... Right. It was LaBelle opening the forbidden chamber. The second time Mr. LaBelle opened the door to the forbidden chamber, he happened to catch the thieving Mr. Filch by surprise. Startled, Mr. Filch in his Temataro disguise ran as fast as he could away from the room. As he did, he left behind him a trail of feathers and tracks, and gave Miss Tenma the scare of her life in the hallway. With no one left to witness the events that had occurred, Mr. LaBelle then proceeded to drag the sleeping mayor back to the fox chamber. Well, clearly does make sense. Certainly does. Then after dragging the mayor back into the fox chamber, Mr. LaBelle threw the mask out of the window and fled the room.
Silence!
For this absurd theory to work, it requires the defendant to be the amazing Nine Tails. He was the one pushing for the municipal pleasure. That such an individual could possibly be the amazing Nine Tails.
Objection!
The mayor was blackmailed into pursuing the merger. Miss Tenma's life would be in danger if he had openly voiced his opposition. That's why he created a secret identity as the amazing Ninetails.
God, this is madness. No one could possibly have such an insane plot.
No one except a killer as insane as his plot. And I'd say Florent LaBelle is more than qualifies.
Foolish mortal. It is at your own peril that you forget who I am.
Mayor Tenma, it's okay now. Jinxie will be safe just as soon as Mr. LaBelle is arrested. You are the amazing Ninetails, aren't you?
You have quite the active imagination. Yet Tenma is not the amazing.
Objection!
What do you mean?
Well, has the mayor admitted to it yet?
That's just...
And even if he did admit to such nonsense, I would reveal the truth behind Tenmataro right here and now.
What?
Why, you dare reveal the secret?
My good friend the Alderman told me all about it. But it wouldn't be good to expose the truth. What with the superstitions now, would it?
Truth behind Tenmataro? What's he talking about?
Go ahead, say it. Say I am the amazing Ninetails. I dare you.
You're getting awfully defensive, aren't you there, bud? You're trying to get him to stop a confession?
Objection!
Wait. Will somebody please explain what's going on here?
The mayor will do anything to keep this truth behind Tenmataro's secret. A dark, terrible truth that has been kept secret by the village superstitions.
And if the mayor admits to being the amazing Ninetails, you'll expose the truth.
Right. I won't have him walking free because of some nonsense you made up.
So what now, Justice Dad? Without the mayor's admission, your theory is as useless as you are undoubtedly. Should use useless.
Apollo, don't you dare give up now. I know. Your Honor, I believe Mr. LaBelle's statement has warrant a thorough cross-examination. After all, the true identity of the Amazing Ninetales is the cornerstone of this case.
You have a point there. Please answer this court, Mr. LaBelle. Is the defendant the Amazing Ninetales or not?
Dickhead.
The Amazing Ninetales' true identity is not Mayor Tenma. They would never admit to such utter nonsense. But if he did admit to such nonsense, I will expose the truth behind Tenmataro right here and now. And that bring ruin upon Ninetales' fame, just as the superstitions say.
I mean, what do you have to gain from that? You certainly did suddenly, you seem like the kind of person who's all about resorting to blackmail. Funny that. Talk about out of the pot and into the fire. Looks like the mayor will be found guilty for sure.
Honestly speaking, if Mayor Damien Tenma is not the Amazing Ninetales, I'm afraid I don't see how the defense has much of a case here.
And let's leave it at that, shall we? We all know Alderman QB was the Amazing Ninetales anyway. I mean, that's how Ninetales Vale was made a comeback. The Alderman was so popular.
There's gotta be a hole in that testimony somewhere. But I don't even know where to start. We don't have any proof that the mayor is the Amazing Ninetales. Then we'll just have to get him to admit it himself. But if he admits it, LaBelle's going to expose the secret behind Tenmataro. We're so close. I know it.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Hold it!
Do not gaze upon Tenmataro. Do not tell others if you see him. Isn't that what the village superstitions say?
Exactly. Telling others what Tenmataro looks like will reveal the truth. That's why the superstitions were written down on its first place.
And the ruin coming to the village if you free him. Is that a warning not to expose the truth?
Bingo! And that truth is, Tenmataro was a great greed-inspiring fortune. That's what the whole battle of the Ninetales Vale is about.
Tenmataro is a great fortune. Not only that, and it's the greatest get-rich chance in the universe. Grandpappy told me all about it. Said there's an amazing treasure in there. Could Tenmataro actually be Finji's treasure? One of the villagers that Tenmataro is a terrifying yokai. It's what has scared them away from the forbidden chamber and the treasure within. That's how the treasure has been kept secret all this time.
Well. It seems our ace attorney here
Title drop.
has uncovered the truth that must not be revealed.
Mayor Tenma knows the truth hidden as much as I do.
Tragedy is doomed to repeat itself as long as Tenmataro exists. That's why the secret must be protected.
As long
long as Tenmataro exists, huh? But he don't exist anymore. Filch's granddad took it away. Or went and stole that forever ago. Mr. LaBelle, please add that statement to your testimony. Yep.
Objection!
Azuki Kozo stole it. Mr. LaBelle, what if Tenmataro no longer existed? Revealing the truth would no longer be an issue, would it? If Tenmataro no longer existed? What on earth are you talking about? Apparently you haven't heard. Tenmataro no longer exists. I guess you didn't get to do a thorough search after the key was taken from you. Because when we searched the Forbidden Chamber, there wasn't any treasure in there. Really? Well, maybe you weren't looking in the right place. Sorry, but I have proof that Tenmataro no longer exists. Take a look at this figure.
What do we have here? Looks like some sort of creature.
We found this in the Forbidden Chamber. It's an Azuki Kozo figure. The great thief Azuki Kozo used to leave them in the scene of his crimes. Are you suggesting that Tenmataro has been stolen? Yep, Phineas Filch's grandfather. A master thief was the culprit. And that hideous moronic caretaker's grandfather, no less? You... No! My beautiful golden Tenmataros! The greed inspired by Tenmataro can no longer bring ruin upon Ninetales Vale. Isn't that right, Mayor Tenma?
The root of tragedy would indeed seem to be gone.
In fact, I now recall the alderman revealing in the secret to me on the day of the meeting. He must have been speaking of Tenmataro, for he said to me the gold ingot was gone.
The gold ingot? You mean the treasure that is Tenmataro's true form?
Recall, if you will, the scroll in the Forbidden Chamber. Tenmataro was the yellowish object shown there. A giant golden ingot that my nomadic ancestors bestowed upon the Ninetales Vale. In return for that gold, my ancestors did receive from Ninetales Vale land that would become Tenmatown. But drive the villagers mad with greed did that great fortune. Bitter was their greed-fueled battle. It was as if they were possessed. My ancestors' gold became a curse upon their village, a curse of ruin. And thus did that yokai Tenmataro come to be.
So, Tenmataro and the village superstitions were merely fairy tales to scare people away.
Fairy tale or not, Tenmataro made quite a mess of things. Yes, indeed, for there is no greater monster than a mortal man's lust for gold.
Well, you know what they say. The love of money is the root of all evil.
My ancestors did bring a terrible thing here to Ninetales Vale. A thing so terrible that Tenmataro, a monster just as terrible, had to be created to keep it a secret. Yet we have naught but love for the little village which we owe our very existence. Tenmataro would never seek to take over Ninetales Vale in a merger.
Oh my, that was quite a shocking lesson in history.
Mr. Mayor, now that we know Tenmataro no longer exists, are you ready to admit your secret? You are the amazing Ninetales, aren't you? No, don't do it. Please, no.
Begone, you demented demon.
Now, where was I? The golden yokai. The amazing Ninetales is indeed me.
And that means Jinxie.
Yes?
man wearing the mayor's clothes who you saw collapse in the Fox chamber? Was he wearing the Amazing Ninetales' mask?
Uh-huh. That's what made me think it was Papa. He said he was going to reveal his secret and identity to all the days. So it really wasn't Papa I saw there, was it?
It was Florent's idea from the start. He advised me to reveal my secret identity to the alderman.
Yeesh.
Rube Goldberg machines have less setups in LaBelle's scheme.
You may rest easy now, little Jinxie. That monstrous deception is true.
The true facts behind this case have finally come to light. Mayor Tenma did not kill Alderman Q, but Florent LaBelle did. How dare you, peasant! No!
Silence!
Justice to you. You should at least have a real blade in your hands if you desire to cross swords and things. Or have you mistaken this battlefield for a training ground?
Yeah, he's just kind of been sitting there or watching this whole thing go down.
What's the guy want now?
Evidence is like a razor-sharp blade that cuts the bones of butter. Blind guesses, a dull blade is incapable of cutting even a cake. Yes, well, Mr. Justice. Not mind a big stretch. After all, evidence is everything in a court of law. Remember that juris system from the last game? Shame that never took off. That would sure be handy for your case right now, but, so much for that. Glad we went through an entire game establishing that. But, they're right. Let's see some evidence. Of course, a perfect being like me wouldn't leave any incriminating evidence behind. This is the final battle. Just as the samurai must live and die by the sword. You will live and die by the evidence you hold. My swift blade of judgment awaits. Now present your conclusive evidence. Don't you have any?
Do we have anything conclusive?
Yeah.
Evidence. Oh, I have evidence. You do? Of course. It's just that's the conclusive evidence we need too. Gotta finally prove Mayor Tenma's innocent. Here comes justice. This is new. Let's review the facts. The most damning evidence against the mayor was the crime scene itself. The mayor and the victim were the only two people found in the room. Also, we all thought the alderman was killed because he was the Amazing Ninetales. But as we know now, of course, we were way off. Yeah, those, it's a shame that the Miles Edgeworth games aren't super readily available in America because only one was localized and never re-released anywhere. If we do get a port or a remake of those, I will gladly play them. At some point after I finish this trilogy, I need to pick up and play The Great Ace Attorney. But as we know now, of course, we were way off. The Amazing Ninetales was really Mayor Damien
Tenma. That's when his daughter, Jinxie, saw the amazing Ninetales collapse at the scene. She mistook him for her father. Those are the facts we have revealed. However, Mr. LaBelle asserts that he did not leave any evidence of the crime. He didn't say anything about evidence outside of the crime scene. Outside of the crime scene. Maybe he isn't as clever as he thinks he is. Maybe this evidence is found outside of the crime scene, providing clues. Clue inside the crime scene. Oh, I know. The amazing Ninetales mask was found washed up along the river. What sort of clue does that mask hold? White hair. White hair in the mask. And what about the hair left in the mask? Who does it belong to? That's Laurent LaBelle. White hair is LaBelle's. Oh, right. That hair is Florent LaBelle's. Yes. Now that's what I call conclusive evidence. That's very fun visually.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you have any conclusive evidence to present to this court?
Of course I do. Observe this mask, if you will.
A mask? Oh, is that conclusive evidence?
It's not the mask itself, but the white hair inside it. We originally thought it belonged to Alderman Rex Cubey.
Yes, but the amazing Ninetales, as we know, is Mayor Tenma, so...
That is correct. So the question is, whose hair could this be? And the answer to that is the last person who would to have worn it before it was discarded. That would be you, Mr. Florent LaBelle. What are you talking about? I never had hideous white hair like that.
Silence!
Busy being one ludicrously garish color or another.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Blackwell. You who has made a fatal error. Remember where the mask was found. It's washed up by the side of the river. With that in mind, this last piece of evidence will solve all of the remaining riddles. Yeah, the hair dye.
Take that!
It washes out water. Congratulations, you played yourself.
What was that?
This is Mr. LaBelle's own private brand of hair color. It washes out with just water. The court will also recall that the amazing Ninetales mask was washed up along the side of the village river with white hair inside it. What's this? Are you saying that Preening Peacock's hair color is? That's exactly what I'm saying. Mr. LaBelle's hair color is a freaky work of fiction. But thanks to the river flowing through the Ninetales Vale, we now have a real-life expose. The white hair in this mask is conclusive evidence proving you're not the real killer. Proving you're the real killer. A DNA test will... Yeah, a DNA test is all we need to prove it. And we both know we'll get a match. Admit it. Laurent LaBelle, you were the one who killed Alderman Rex Cubey. You... This is... But you... My makeup.
crappy makeup if sprays of cologne are enough to make it all go away. Like,
Hello, Labelle. What? The project is off? This is Labelle. The sponsors have pulled out. Labelle speaking. I'm fired? You mean I'm no longer Mayor Tenma's aide? Hello, this is Labelle. What? There's a stratospheric damages claim against me? $100 million.
I'm finished. Washed up. Sick of poking me. I'm done.
Defeated. Order! In the court!
That was very satisfying.
Well, this is quite the unexpected outcome. And was handed to you, Mr. Justice. You really turned this case on its head. Just like that other lawyer, Phoenix Wright.
Wait, is that a... That was a compliment, right? Hard to say. The general opinion of Phoenix Wright, it really fluctuates depending on who you ask.
Prosecutor Blackwell, what have you done with Miss Florent Labelle?
The defaced man is withered like a flower without water. One of the officers is currently tended to him with a sprinkler.
Wouldn't that just wash even more of his makeup off?
Allow me to explain the actions of the guilty party in detail. The motive, of course, was to steal the gold ingot known as 10 Mataro.
Yep. I mean, his name literally, like, translates to beautiful flower. Or, in French. Because his name is Florent Labelle. Just like, you want to make a character extra punchable? Make him French. That's why Glass Joe is the the first person you fight in every Punch-Out game.
However, if you are allowed out into the manor due to its cultural ties to Ninetales Vale, the Bell set in motion plans to gain access to the manor and the gold within and via the merger. But the efforts of the amazing Ninetales saw those plans come to a halt. And thus, LaBelle murdered the alderman and attempted to pin the blame on Mayor Tenma.
I see. But what I still can't comprehend is why he would go that far after the gold in the first place. Mr. Labelle doesn't look like someone who's in need of financial aid.
LaBelle hid his past well, much like he hid his beauty with makeup. He's mired in debt. Debt due to pouring money into a brand only he could love. Which is why he sought the gold with such ferocity.
Gosh. Dude put so much thought into this, you know, as just Apollo put it, this Rube Goldberg of a murder plot. All because, like, that he very close nearly got away with. All because he was so stupid as to put an entire or make an entire line of beauty products and then refuse to sell them. Like, he's either the smartest idiot or the most stupid genius. Like, oh my gosh. Like, dude was that pompous and conceited that he decided to... Yeah. And it's not even like, oh, like he made the product and then or just refused to sell it. He advertised it on TV and had people wanting to sell his product, and he refused. You see him refuse a store chain. I mean, in one of your conversations during the second investigation. Oh my gosh, if you had just sold your product, people wanted to buy it. You are a moron. Too bad for him. Someone else had gotten to it first anyway.
I see. Very well then. I believe it's time I declared a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Damien Tenma, court is adjourned.
I mean, that's just it. He was that conceited and... like, he was willing to spend however much on advertising fees just to show off how beautiful he looked in his own product, but with no intent to actually sell it because he wanted to hoard the product for himself. That was some seriously good lawyering, Apollo. Even I didn't see that coming. Just got lucky, I guess. Vanished in the tar of Ninetales Vale like you were some kind of exorcist. Was funny.
There's still one thing I don't understand. How come Mr. Lavelle didn't kill Mayor Tenma too? Could have set it up so that the mayor murdered the alderman then died from a counterattack. That would have removed at least one possible finding they might in.
I was wondering about that too. I have a hunch Lavelle was biding his time. He was planning on exposing the amazing Ninetales droid identity himself.
Huh? Why?
Because the mayor of the Ninetales, or because the mayor was the amazing Ninetales. Had Lavelle succeeded in framing Mayor Tenma for the alderman's murder, the wrestler's popularity would have plummeted once his identity was revealed.
Oh, I get it.
If the amazing Ninetales was just killed, he'd die a hero. But if he was proved a villain, his fans would abandon him, making the merger that much easier. Right. And then when the merger was complete and everything closed down, he would just the chamber at his leisure.
What an insanely intricate plot.
A most excellent job clearing my name. If he's worthy of the Demon Lord's approval,
Why are you acting like Tenmataro again?
let this be of no concern to you.
But it's not concerning. Tenma be gone.
Yeah!
Trixie? Seems like the agencies have laid eyes on you.
Papa, you're finally back.
Yes. I see what Tenmataro is doing much for you.
I'm not scared of that silly yokai anymore. Your father's a free man now, Jinxie. Isn't that great? Thank you for all you've done. You guys in action. It made me feel like I don't have to be afraid anymore.
Oh my gosh, she smiled. Yeah, because they're meant to evoke the like imagery of the Nine-Tailed Fox. Because the Nine-Tailed Fox was the sworn enemy of Tenmataro, so it makes sense that the warding charms would have imagery that was reminiscent of it, aka the Fox Paw print.
Wait, is Jinxie actually smiling?
This is all leads to you two. Glad the living Nine-Tails will have to retire, though.
Huh? Come!
Everyone here signed the Amazing Nine-Tails. My place will no side. After all, the most popular of people. Another reason for my secret identity.
Oh, jeez.
I don't see how I could possibly continue.
I think you've misjudged yourself. Take a look outside.
Big crowd of gathered outside the courthouse once the news broke. Seems they want to get a glimpse of Mayor Damien Tenma, the man behind the mask, and root for your return to the wrestling ring.
Rooting for me. I thought I was nothing more than a malefactor in their eyes.
The only one who really matters is Jinxie. Show her how cool you are. Yeah, you're the coolest when you're out there fighting in the ring, Papa.
Here, I think you'll be needing this.
Take that!
Thank you. Now, if you excuse me. I don't want to keep my family waiting.
Quite the quick change.
Nine-Tails Vale forever!
Hi there, Kyle Bear. Really certain that was Kyle Bear.
I sure hope they can settle the problems between Tenmatown and Nine-Tails Vale.
Me too. I'm sure they'll be fine. After all, blackmailer slash killer is behind bars, and murder's no longer an issue. Plus, Amazing Nine-Tails is obviously still a hit. I suspect Nine-Tails Vale will be too. It's all because we believed in our client, just like you said.
Okay, people. Now that we've got that one in the bag, let's go get something to eat. I'm starving.
Sounds good. I've been so nervous I haven't eaten since yesterday.
Gotta keep eating, Apollo. You might have to start looking up at me. Huh?
I'm definitely past my growth phase, and you should be about past yours too.
Are you kidding me? I'm just getting started. Ready or not, it's face stuffing time.
Anything like that, the only direction you'll grow is sideways.
Very funny. I got a hollow leg. I can eat as much as I want without gaining an ounce.
Really? Oh, can't wait to see this.
Calories? Ha! Just let him try to stick to me.
Athena, you are only inviting a very specific kind of fetish artist with those comments. Apollo, you're not helping. Alright. Already. Alright already, you two. Let's get going before the old man closes shop. Eldoon's Noodles is in an all-night stand, you know. I'm a Mr. Right. Let's go.
I've been waiting to have a bowl from there ever since Mr. Wright told me about him.
I see they've stopped trying to force burgers into the ramen equation. I guess they couldn't really after bringing up Eldu or making him such an integral character in Apollo's game. Noodles are on me today, so I expect some serious eating from you two.
Yay! Thanks, boss. I won't let you down.
Athena has no idea what she's getting into. Mr. Eldune's noodles are so hot and salty. 2 bowls would kill a man.
That was our first case together. And it felt like nothing could bring us down. After that. The dark age of the law seemed so distant, so irrelevant to our small, cozy office. Little did I know that it had been lurking all along, right there behind us. The first time it made itself known was during the murder at the Themis Legal Academy. That case would mark the twilight before the dark, cold night that was to come.
And with that, I do believe that is where we will call it for the evening. We will start case 3. No, yeah. We will start case 3 next time, which I've heard is very, very good. One thing that I have heard about Dual Destinies is that not only does it manage to dodge third case syndrome, its third case is one of the best in the game. So, I'm excited. I really like Athena. And I know that she kind of takes the reins on this one. But we'll get to that next time. It is past midnight and I need to be getting ready for bed. Even with, Chris coming in and dropping 50 gifted subs on my head last night, I still don't make enough off of this to not have a full-time job in addition to this. So, I gotta get ready for work tomorrow. Well, you guys have a good rest of the night. Thanks for coming by and chatting and everything. So, I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.